My mouth tastes like deviled eggs.
Ew. The after, like, I'll go in on a deviled egg all the time for the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
It's bad. I should have brushed my teeth before this, but why would I ever do that? We actually got ready today.
Yeah,
though.
we got ready. Can you tell?
So I think we were talking about it on our Patreon episode, right?
Yeah.
How we just feel like it's like when you're in a relationship and you get so comfortable and you like stop dressing up and like you
feel like you don't need to like get done up to impress.
Right. I feel like we got like that with you guys.
Yeah, we got to the point where, I mean, the last few episodes, speaking for myself at least, I've been A, hungover, and B, just like super out of it, wasn't getting ready, no makeup, barely showering from the night before.
Right.
So we sat down and we were like, okay, we feel like we don't want you guys to think that we don't care about you guys anymore. So
not the case at all. I mean, not only is this podcast like the most comfortable thing we do every week, and like we obviously on a deeper level have like such an open relationship with you guys. We literally talk about everything. We're best friends. We're also in the comfort of our own home.
We're literally on the couch that we sit on and
every day.
Soak into
and watch TV. Like we're in our home, so
it's hard to almost separate the two.
Yes.
And I like forgot a little bit.
I forgot like, oh, you can wear makeup inside your own house and
like
it's okay.
Right.
Because it just feels weird. So I did my makeup. We got cute loungy outfits on, coordinated, and I didn't brush my teeth though after I ate my eggs. So
it's okay. They can't smell your breath, so that's all that matters.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Because we would
you think your breath stinks?
I mean, probably. It's okay. You don't have to.
Okay.
You're going in for kiss. I had capers on top too, so I have like vinegary.
A little bit of okay.
So
this is Oddvice Podcast.
Oh yes, hello. I'm Kristen McAtee.
And I'm Alex Coate.
And that is our intro here. So if you're new, you're probably turned off by that. But whatever. Hello. Welcome back. So I'm having like a really big croissant kick right now, you guys.
Yeah, you've had like 3 this week.
Yeah. No, I wake up and I think about it. Like I think
from Maman specifically or just in general.
I do love Mamans because there's something like so fresh about them. I mean, they make them in house, but I'm just on the biggest croissant kick. And Alex and I officially just booked my birthday trip.
Yeah.
We're going to London, and then one day we're taking the train to Paris, and we're doing one day in Paris.
Literally one day in Paris.
So
oh my God, we're gonna be like Emily in Paris.
No, literally, like you need to watch one episode. God no. Besides that, nobody's singing. Last night Alex went out, but I sat on the couch for literally the 5 hours she was out and I researched restaurants. I researched 9 options alone for afternoon tea. I researched like ticket prices, things to do, all in Paris in one day. I did so much research, and I just feel like
you could be a travel agent.
Literally. What perfect time to be on a croissant kick than before a trip to Paris?
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right.
Maybe it's just like my body knowing it's coming.
Sure.
Like,
no, I think you are like
I'm embodying
you're in like London mindset right now. You're in vacay mode.
I'm so excited.
As some would say.
I'm so excited. Like I feel like we're gonna come home and I'm gonna be that girl that has like a Paris themed bedroom.
Please no. Marilyn Monroe and then Marilyn Monroe and then the Eiffel Tower and like purple like shaggy pillow.
But like plum purple. Like not like cute purple. Like 50-year-old purple.
Yes.
Don't put it past me. That's all I'm saying. When I get into something, God. I get into it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, you guys.
No, it's going to be so much fun. This is going to be one of those trips that we're going to be talking about when we're 85 years old and reminiscing on shit we used to do in our 20s. Hey, remember that year we moved to New York and then that summer we went to
freaking London? The reason we chose London, it was completely Alex's idea, by the way. We were sitting at Django, that jazz show the other night we told you guys about. And we had talked about London a few times because we realized it's only a 7-hour flight from here. Mm-hmm. It's like London in our heads growing up was always this like big international trip because we were
so far away
on the West Coast. It's now nearly, give or take an hour, equidistant to just going home to the Bay.
Yep. And we already had London in our minds because we were supposed to do a big London trip over the holidays 2021, I believe. And we ended up canceling that. And at least for me, London has always been in my head as like the next big place I would go. And on top of it, like Lee's there. One of our really good friends lives there.
Yeah.
It just felt right.
Yep. It felt right. It's relatively easy. And we can make it a quick trip too. It's so close that we can do it again. So we don't have to feel like we have to like shove everything in one trip, which is like, that's how I feel whenever I go to Australia. Cause I know I'm probably not going to go back for a few years cause it's a big trip.
Right.
And you make sure you try and go for at least like 10 days so you can do things and not feel rushed. We're going 5 nights, relatively quick and like relatively affordable. The price for our ticket going there is the same as if we would have bought that same ticket going home.
Right.
But we're going somewhere new and like, I'm just so excited. Neither of us have been here too. I feel like a lot of the places we've traveled together, one of us is gone and it's like, there's already like a vibe set. Like, oh, last time I did this, we should go here again, or we shouldn't do this.
We're going to be experiencing everything.
Going blind.
Yep. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I'm so pumped. So you'll be hearing a lot about it up until, and then probably a lot about it right after.
We're going to be here. Oh, we're going to podcast there.
Oh yeah, we're going to do an episode there. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know what it'll be.
In the Eiffel Tower.
On top of the Eiffel Tower. Not strapped to anything. Standing on the windiest day.
Could you imagine? The Big Ben.
The Big Ben. Oh my God, I can't wait to see Big Ben. We want to do, hate us for it, but we have to do the touristy stuff in Paris.
Yeah.
Because we're probably going to be there like 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like we're going in the morning, we're leaving at night, like quick, got to shove everything in. So please send your favorites, your recommendations, your do's, your don'ts, your tips and tricks for anything Paris and anything London. We're so excited. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going to fall in love with the culture. Like I'm just ready.
You're just going to be a petty girl.
I'm going to be a petty girl. And it's my 28th birthday. Like,
and you took French in high school.
Right. And I remember maybe 5%.
No, we have this coffee shop where she gets her croissants.
Oh, yeah.
The place is called Maman. And I was like, what do you think Maman means? And she's like, I don't know.
Idea.
And then you looked it up and you're like, fuck, I took French in high school.
It means mom.
Yeah.
It's mom. I was like, God, I like gave myself a sec. I'm like, hold on, let me like try and think. Like I might know it. Link, stop. I might know it. No, I don't.
It's okay.
I know like random words. Like I know how to say like I would, but like I can't say what I would do. I could just say I would. And like there's like little random things.
Such random shit sticks. Like, I think I'm gonna get Duolingo.
For
I
almost said for friends.
Yeah.
For French. I mean, yeah. I'll like
just like I'll do like the intro course, you know.
Right.
We're gonna be there for a day. It'd be nice to like walk into a shop and know what to ask for, and you know.
Yeah, I was just telling Alex before this, like from what I know, Parisians, I mean, they love their culture, and one thing they want is just like at least try to speak the language. It's their native language. They love their language. So we don't want to be walking in a store and they say bonjour and we're like, hi. Like,
hey.
We can hit them with a bonjour.
Yeah.
And then we can learn we can at least say we don't know how to speak French. Do you speak English? We can at least, I literally wrote down, because I made like a note of all this stuff I was researching last night. I wrote down like, we'll start with water, please. And like little things like that. From what I was reading, it was like, just try. And then they'll notice that like you're trying and like, but you're definitely not a French speaker. And then most of them speak English. So then after that, you could follow with English. But we don't want to be the ignorant Americans coming in being like, what's up? Can I do Coca-Cola? Like, fuck. Oh my God, I hate us. Americans are the grossest.
My parents are coming to visit New York in March.
Oh yeah, it'll be right before the trip.
Literally like the week before. And my mom has made things to do. First of all, my mom and dad, when they travel, they watch like travel YouTube vlogs for like the places they're gonna go. So they watched a New York one, and we have a shared document of all the places that my mom wants to go, and like the emoji use.
Right. Like I did a list, but like there's an emoji for every verb.
For everything. It's just so funny seeing all the bars. Crocodile Lounge with extra exclamation marks, because that means that the big red ones, because that means they really want to go there.
Oh.
And wait.
She should have a key.
I think she did. Oh, she texted it to me.
Okay.
But it's just, I'm so excited for them to come visit. And it's my parents' first time in New York.
Times Square at night. The Times Square exclamation
with
point
the night emoji and the moon emoji.
She said 911 Memorial, not 911. Take Subway. Statue of Liberty. These are good.
She's gonna have so much fun. She's such like a like mainstream tourist.
Yeah.
Wants to do all the touristy shit, which I get. It's her first time in New York. She has to see it all. I'm surprised the Empire State Building isn't on here.
Does she not like heights?
I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll ask her.
Yeah, I feel like doing touristy things gets a bad rep because it is basic, it is mainstream, whatever. But
it's touristy for a reason. Like you want to see the cool shit.
It's like it's iconic. Like it's why not if you're going your first time? Like knock it out. I get like it is annoying. Like when people used to come to LA, I'd be like, we are not going to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But I do get if it's your first time.
I mean, we did that shit our first time.
Right, but it's all relative. Like if you're from there or you go there a lot, you're like, we are not doing that. But you have to think about fresh eyes and a fresh mind. They're like, this is the coolest thing in the fucking world.
That's exactly why we're going to the Eiffel Tower.
Literally.
I went to my first show last night. So Sister Nancy, if you don't know her, you probably know one song.
Right.
It's I wish I could play it. Bum, 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 just a little reggae vibe.
Yeah.
We went to a show. I went to the show with this guy that I've been seeing and his parents. And it was really fun. His parents are the parents.
The rents.
He texted me and said, okay. So he got my ticket and he was like, all right, we're all set. You're going to meet the Rents.
Did you sit next to them? Like what was the seating arrangement?
It was just like an open foot. It was such a cool venue. It's called Market Hotel. It's in Brooklyn. It's like this upstairs open venue, like really cool DJ setup. And it's just like this big open GA area. Okay. And we were just like standing around with beers, dancing. It was really fun.
It's a vibe.
It was a really good vibe.
It's not like sit down. So
no.
How do you know each other? Like
it wasn't
not like
interviewee.
I fucking hate that.
God. And he had said that like when he invited me, he was like, my parents are going and I would love for you to go. And I don't want you to I don't want it to be weird. It's not a big like meet the parents thing. My parents are like homies. Like they're really cool.
Good.
So
that would make me so much more comfortable.
Yeah. I think if it was like, do you want to come to my parents' house for dinner? Like, no.
Like on their turf too. Like it'd be like,
it's intimidating.
Yeah. We were talking about it before she left. Does she hug or does she shake hands? What'd you end up doing?
They were good. Yeah, it was a big hug vibe.
Good.
At least from what I could tell.
Did they say, oh, I'm a hugger?
No.
And do that thing?
No.
We were talking because she was like, what do I do?
But his mom like came towards me first and like we both.
Someone's got to set the tone.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is actually perfect for this episode because we're talking about communication styles, as you can tell by the title. But like with the hug and the shaking the hand with anybody
who initiates.
It's so like I am a hugger, but I never assume because if you're not a hugger, you don't want to be hugged and it's going to be really uncomfortable. So I do always assume the handshake and then I allow them to be, oh, I'm the hugger.
Handshakes always feel so cold. Like coming from me, I always feel so cold when I handshake people.
Oh, I don't like it by any means, but like
you have to respect boundaries. But I always appreciate when people like come for the hug first.
Then I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
you can almost like drop the small talk.
Yes.
Like everybody just relax. The power of a hug.
Yeah.
The power of a hug.
Power of a hug.
Well, good. How do you like feel about it? Do you feel like it changed anything in your head or you really just taking it for what it is?
Taking it for what it is. It was really cool seeing like where he came from. He's a lot like his parents, and like the energy that I get from him is it's always been very chill, and it's cool to see that that's not like it's actually his personality.
Yep.
Like he's the way him and his mom communicate and the way him and his dad joke around, like it's very him, and it made me feel like I knew just like a little bit more about him.
Right.
It was very eye-opening, I guess. It was nice.
It's a good point.
Or reassuring.
Right. Because I feel like some people, you become a product of the opposite of your parents.
Right.
Out of like, oh, I don't want to be like them. But to know that like he's like comfortable in his skin and where he got it from, and like like you said, it's legit. It's not just like a facade.
Right. And
that's cool.
Like talks highly of his parents, and the fact that he can go out to a
concert with them?
Yeah. And like the original plan was the original plan was for him to go with his parents, and like it was I don't know, it was cool.
Did you get mama's boy vibes?
No.
Okay, good.
And I was gonna
yeah.
Because I have an eye for it.
Right.
And I did not at all get mama's boy's vibe. And there's like, which is so interesting because it's such a fine line because they have a good relationship.
Right.
But I don't see any like weird dependency. Whereas like with my ex, it was like
uppy
literally
mommy milky. I don't know if you guys are watching it too, but we're watching the current season of Love Island UK, which is like so weird because it's not in summer.
Yeah, we usually watch it like kind of back to back with the US. Right? Yeah, we kind of
May, June.
I don't know. But this is the first year we're actually watching it when it rolls out.
That's true.
The UK version. We usually watch it when it's complete.
But the reason I brought it up, I wasn't completely changing the subject here. Mama's Boys. There's a guy on there, Kai. Is that his name?
Oh yeah.
So
really liked him off the bat.
We like he's super chill. Like he seems like really normal. And then there was one scene on, I think it was the latest episode. Well, maybe not now by the time this is out. But he was ironing his shirt and he was kind of like huffing and puffing, like, oh God, this is like so annoying to do. And he follows saying, my mom usually does this. And it was like a quick, and like they cut to the next scene really quick. Like
and
they didn't like, make it a thing.
You had to be listening to like really catch it. And like,
yes,
you had to think about it to register it.
And I was like, did you hear that, Alex? And she's like, yes. That is crazy. He's 24. He was like a younger. I think he's 24, 25. And he hits us with that.
Come on. You can't iron your own shirt.
Really? Like, I understand being like, I love my mom's home cooked meals. Like, who doesn't? Whatever. I'll give you that. You can't iron your own clothes at 24.
That's like a guy going to his mom's house and her like doing his laundry for him. That's like bringing loads of laundry.
I don't know. Laundry? It's very easy to do. I'd understand if
figure it out. You're an adult.
If she was knitting your blankets or something, like I get not everybody knows how to knit, but do your laundry.
Iron your own shirt.
Iron your own shirt.
Get a steamer. It's way easier.
Right.
You don't need a board.
Oh my God. Steamers are so easy, guys. If you're like not an ironer, because honestly, I'm not. I'm a steamer for that reason. Put it in the bathroom. You can even get close to it and kind of like, you ever like press it with the thing?
Let it fully dry and cool down before you put on the shirt, because otherwise it's going to re-wrinkle.
Yep. This is an ironing and steaming tutorial episode. Thank you.
Yeah. So he's not a mama's boy, which I'm very happy about.
Okay, thank God.
Very, very happy about.
That's a big check. Moving on.
Yeah. He's sticking boxes.
Oh, literally. What they say. Another thing we noticed in Love Island. Okay.
Oh yeah.
If you've watched past seasons, you notice they always say like
mug.
Oh, you think I'm a mug? Mug me off. Like they always say mug.
They don't say that anymore.
They don't say it anymore. So we're kind of thinking, and maybe if you're from London at all or Essex, anything of where people are
correct
in that
us
show.
If we're wrong.
Correct us if we're wrong. But we think the word went out of style the same way words here went out of style. Like what's something we said in like 2015, 2016?
What the quan?
Great example though.
Right? Like
see, and
fucking no one says what the quan anymore.
The one guy who still does listening to this like, oh fuck.
No, it's exactly that. Like we have just been on the forefront of watching the evolution of their vocabulary, and they just don't say mug anymore.
We're pretty upset about it, guys.
Yeah, I was like noticing that they say they've been pied a lot.
Yeah, pie. Is it when like
they're just like when what's her name pulled away when that guy tried to kiss her?
Just like
she pied him off.
I'm trying to put it in another word.
She pied him off. She rejected.
Rejected, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like took a left turn, like didn't not what I expected to happen.
She rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they say that, but they don't say like mug anymore. And I loved mug. Season 2 of Love Island will forever just be my.
Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. UK. We're talking UK here.
Oh, only. Yeah.
US is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Doing okay.
But I don't, like we said,
I wonder where it's
going to
be this year.
Probably like LA.
I hope I found a British boyfriend.
I hope, selfishly, that Will from Love Island this season, we're talking about, I hope he is off the show by the time we go.
You gotta hit him up.
You gotta hit him up.
You gotta crush. No, every time he's so on the screen, I look over and you're like,
I'm like, he's so cute. He seems like
so like very cool. Down to earth.
Yes, and like perfectly like funny, but like a good listener, and like, oh, he seems so cool. Mm-hmm. It seems silly to say through like a show, but I mean, Love Island shows you quite a bit.
Yeah.
And personalities is literally all the show is. So like from what I see,
it's cool. Literally 24 hours. Like they're filmed day to night.
Like whenever
almost
they're awake.
Every day.
Yeah. I think they have one off day. We need a Love Island or like a reality TV show documentary. Someone needs to come out with that. The process before and like Oh God, all that. That'd be so cool.
So much goes into it.
You know, Adeline?
Yes.
She, all over her TikTok right now, she's been kind of hinting that she's in the interview process for a show that she like cannot name.
Do you think it's Love Island?
Kinda, or like, well, she said there's two. She said there's one that's like well known, like you know the show, and then there's one that's actually the first season, but she thinks it'd be a really cool concept, so she wants to be a part of it.
Ooh.
But she said the word villa.
Oh, fuck.
But like, also maybe she's just thinking like the house is like, I don't know.
You don't say villa if it's not Love Island.
100%. But like I could tell like it kind of slipped. I don't know. But she was saying she was getting ready for, and the way she put it, she's like, oh my God, I'm getting ready for another interview. God, I've been doing this for so long. At this point, I'm just like, I need to see it through the end. I don't even know if I'm going to get it.
Right.
But she was saying there's so many interviews.
Holy shit.
So I want a documentary of that.
She's process. For sure going to do like a whole, I bet you she's vlogging every moment.
Right.
Like she's going to do a whole.
That's true. Like well, maybe she can't though.
Oh.
Like think about.
Right.
Yeah. Like you can't tell. So I think like the network would have to make a. Ugh. I don't know. It's so fascinating to me, that whole process. I go back and forth if I'd be able to do it.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I know if I was brought the opportunity, I would do it. I don't know if I'd seek it though.
I would do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If the opportunity was brought for me 100%, I would apply.
Do it.
Should I?
Yeah. That's what I like. It seems so cool to do. I would apply if you have the drive to do it. That's what I don't have.
Yeah. There's probably so many, like the video that you have to, like the intro video.
Hi.
Yeah.
You ever seen Snooki's?
No.
We're watching it after this. Oh, everybody go watch Snooki's Jersey Shore interview video. Of course she got it. Of course she got it. Like,
have you seen Kristen Cavaliers for Laguna Beach? Laguna Beach.
No.
The reason why she was like placed on the show as like the bitch is because in her like intro interview, she was like, I just love drama. This is she knew going into it, like if she went in as the drama head, they would pick her to like
Smart.
be so she was like, in the interview, I'm not even like this, but I named people who were like popular in the bitch in high school and they used me as like drama bait.
Sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then they typecast her that whole season.
And she got hated for it.
Yeah.
Now
she couldn't get out of it.
I think she's completely rebranded though. It seems like people are like, I think she has a jewelry line. Seems like pretty cute shit.
Yeah.
She's like cool now. But yeah, she was, when that shit was popping, I remember everybody was like, fuck Kristen.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, fuck, that's my name. Like I remember thinking like,
now everyone's going to hate Kristen's.
But she's an IN. She's a fucking IN. I'm sorry if you're an IN out there. You know, I don't know you, but we are different people. Kristen's an IN, Kristen's an EN. It's like apples and oranges.
I wonder if there's a lot of ALIXs popping up. We had one in high school.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same, like if they're different.
Oh.
ALIX and ALEX. You know what? I think they are.
I don't know well enough.
I think they are.
I know a lot of INs, so I feel like I could speak on it, but I don't know. I don't personally know any IXs.
Right.
So I don't know. Alex Earl, I guess,
hey.
is the only one. Yeah, you guys are pretty different. So if we're going off of that, I guess you're pretty fucking different. Okay, let's get into this. Song of the day and what we're wearing because we actually tried today.
My song of the day. So I'm going to a Lake Street Dive show tonight.
You gonna pick a song?
And I'm gonna pick a Lake Street Dive song because I'm so excited. You know what that also means? New merch.
Oh yeah. Have you looked it up?
No.
Oh.
They have really cool posters, but I haven't seen any good shirts.
You should grab a poster. That'd be cool. Like up behind your door or something.
Sick.
Be cute if they're cool.
God, I feel like I've done a lot of these songs. Have I done Better Than?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, Better Than by Lake Street Dive. Hypotheticals is my favorite right now, and I think they're going to open the show with that, but I think I did that like a few weeks ago.
If they do, take a video.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'll like post it for you guys. Because we
talked
about it.
Yeah, the like drums in the beginning is such an opening
and
song.
And the drop, like,
I hope.
If they don't, I'll be so surprised. If they do, we are stage managers.
Yeah, and we have an ear for it.
Yeah.
I always used to think that I had an ear for scoring movies.
Yeah.
I still want to do that, but then I realized that I'm tone deaf, and I think I need a little bit of,
a class like Duolingo, but for your ears.
Right. Do you think you can learn how to not be tone deaf?
I don't think so. It's like
it's in the brain.
I think so. Yeah, that's okay. You have so many other good qualities. Don't worry about it. My song of the day is Leanna actually just sent this to us. Ice Cream Man by Ray, Raye. Beautiful song.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Go listen to it. The lyrics are like Leanna said the first time she heard it, it made her cry. When I heard it, I had chills. It's just a insane meaning and in storytelling and such a big point that I know so many women can relate to. And I love the approach, and it's beautiful. It's beautifully written and her voice is insane. So Ice Cream Man by Ray.
Leanna also sent the live version that's on YouTube.
I saw
check
that
out too. Did you watch it?
No.
I am wearing these green, where are these from?
Princess Polly
green flowy plies pants that are Kristen's.
They are yours now.
They are mine now. Sorry.
What else? You got more clothes on.
And I'm also wearing, this is my old neighbor Ty's shirt. You guys know Tyler Yahweh?
Oh, yeah. I guess we can say that now.
Yeah. He was our neighbor back in LA. And I used to raid his closet because he had hella cool shit always sent to him. So I stole this long sleeve from him. And my tie-dye socks.
I'm wearing socks with middle fingers all over them. My mom got me these. Tracks. And then these pants are from Urban. And then I'm wearing my black Skims tank. Don't sleep on Skims tanks.
You haven't worn that in a minute.
I know, it's out of sight, out of mind. It was in the back of my drawer. I need to go through my shit and reorganize because
do you want to have a big clean out day where we just have a big ass box?
And we should throw everything out here.
Yep.
And then we'll do a donation pickup.
Yep.
Absolutely. I need to do I need
space.
Yes.
You should see my closet. I can't even move shit.
Me too. I pull things out and then the hanger boom, bounces
so
up.
Annoying.
That shit's so packed right now. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Okay, before we get into today's episode, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsor. So this episode is sponsored by ZocDoc, which is an app where you can find doctors for all different types of things in your area. You could see reviews, you can book through it. You can even see pictures of your doctor, which I love.
Yeah.
I want to see your vibe.
I want to catch a vibe.
I want to catch a vibe. But let me tell you about this. So I'm a big girl now. Who would have thought? And I got health insurance.
Woo!
Thank you.
Claps all around. Golf claps.
Please clap. I've needed it so bad, you guys. But I was kind of having a hard time figuring out which one I wanted to do. And then I was like, wait, let me go through ZocDoc and then find my doctors. I did reverse. I found the doctors I want, obviously based off their pictures and their reviews. And then I saw the common thread of
health insurance.
Yeah, insurances that they take. And then I went with that one.
So smart.
So if you're somebody like me who is 2 years late to getting insurance by yourself after you're kicked off your parents, which is devastating, it's just such a great resource to do research for who you want.
ZocDoc is nice because it's kind of like a one-stop shop. You can go and book a eye appointment, a gyno appointment, a skin appointment, and it's nice because it sets up you could see everything you're about to do and get done in one spot.
Right.
So you don't have to remember, where do I have to go for this? Where do I have to go for this? It's all there for you.
Yeah. I think this is the perfect resource for our generation. We all hate calling the doctor.
Yes.
I can do so many things by myself, but that I can't. It's the worst thing. Anxiety kicks in. You revert back to an 8-year-old. Am I wrong? The thing with ZocDoc though, safety of your own home.
You book an appointment
on your phone. You don't gotta talk to anybody. You pull up. It's just
the appointment's just handed to you.
Oh my God.
It's so nice. Again, ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat you almost every condition under the sun.
Having that free app on your phone is great for when you're just not feeling well and you need to book an appointment and you don't want to use all your energy. Like I said, calling somebody, all that. You just lay in bed sick and do it on your phone. If you guys want to check them out, go to ZocDoc.com/Oddvice and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/Oddvice. ZocDoc.com/Oddvice. Thanks, ZocDoc. Okay, so this episode has kind of been in our heads for a minute. We've always kind of talked about different communication styles, but I saw this TikTok. It's by this girl. Her name's Miriam_Tiny with 2 N's. And she's talking about this article that she found called Good Conversations Have Lots of Doorknobs by Adam Mastroianni. Adam Mastroianni. And they're talking about how there's 2 types of people in a conversation, and you're either a giver or a taker. And a giver is someone who leads conversations with questions and question, and it bounces back and forth between questions. And a taker is someone who leads with conversation pieces that aren't necessarily questions. And how takers are usually good conversationalists with other takers and givers are usually a good conversationalist with other givers. And this kind of got the ball rolling for this episode as far as how to have a conversation with people and like the different dynamics between different types of conversations and how conversations flow. So we're just going to be talking about talking.
Literally. Well, we'll kind of start with this concept and then we'll just go into like more general things. Like Alex said perfectly, we've talked about this a lot, and within our own friendship too, we obviously get along really well, but like in social situations, we tend to approach things very differently, and we feel like we could just give you guys a good perspective of, I don't want to say both sides, because I think contrary to this article, I think there's more than just two types of communicators.
Right.
There's so many sides of it, but as always,
this is just like one perspective that kind of puts a little bit of it helped me.
It does organize it.
Yeah, it helped me kind of figure out how I go into conversations.
Yeah.
So it just kind of organized it a little bit.
For sure. There's so many topics we've wanted to hit on this podcast, but we're so intimidated. It's such a mouthful to like, at what approach do we come into the topic? And this is one of them for us. So this is a good like good doorknob. Right. To go into the topic of communication and socializing and ways to navigate just the thing we all do every day, whether you like it or not.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys verbatim what this guy talks about as far as givers and takers, because I feel like I didn't explain that good enough for you guys. Givers think that conversations unfold as a series of invitations. Takers think conversations unfold as a series of declarations. When giver meets giver or taker meets taker, all is well. When giver meets taker, however, giver gives, taker takes, and giver gets resentful. Why won't he ask me a single question? While taker has a lovely time. She must really think I'm interesting. Or gets annoyed. My job is so boring. Why does she keep asking me about it? So it's just these doorknobs, which are graspable things in bits of conversation that your partner who you're having a conversation with is able to lead them into the next bit of the conversation.
The giver and taker, when she first told me this, I was kind of like, God, which one am I? And after doing a little bit of my own research, should we go into what we think we are?
Yeah.
You nailed it with that definition right there. I think I'm a giver because more things, which we'll get into, but the literal example quote of why aren't they asking me questions? Mm-hmm. That is something I'm faced with literally all the time. And it's not that I'm asking questions to be asked back. It's just courtesy. I'm asking you about, we'll go off at your job. I'm asking my job. Why aren't you asking me about mine? I'm asking you about your favorite memory at Disneyland. Why aren't you asking me about mine?
There's this level of unbalanced that happens when givers ask questions.
Yes, because we value it so much.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're human, so you take it personal that the other person doesn't value your opinion on it, and you take it as like they're not interested rather than that's just not their style.
And I never thought to think that's just not how they communicate. Mm-hmm. I said I was also a giver. Questions do tend to be my fallback as far as where conversations go.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when I'm communicating with the taker, when they are speaking upon themselves, I take that as a hint that they aren't interested in like my side of things.
Right.
So I tend to like feed into their taking.
This is interesting.
And yeah, I tend to feed into their taking, and I ask more questions so that they have more to talk about.
Right. We come at different approaches to the giver side, which is interesting. But then per his studies, it makes sense that we communicate so well because we're both givers.
Right.
Because I think we, aside from this theory, we also both are equally interested in each other's things and do feed that other part where it's like, okay, well, now ask me.
And I think the dynamic is very different when we've talked for the past 20 years every day. Literally every day.
That's crazy.
19 years.
That's a lifetime.
Yeah, like why haven't we had things to run out to talk about? I was actually thinking that Friday night we had like a pretty big conversation on the couch.
No, I was sitting here, I was like, wow, we're really just talking.
Right.
We're like really just hanging out.
We're just having like a
the
lot
TV
of the time
was paused. We weren't on our phones. We were just like, hey.
And like I feel like we learned new things about each other. And it doesn't happen often when you're friends with someone for almost 20 years.
No.
But I think we just had like a good flow.
Sorry, I'm laughing. It's also making me tear up. I think it's really cool. I'm all over the place. I've had an egg and a croissant and I'm on my period.
No, and I was petting Link the other day and she started crying.
It was so cute, you guys. Oh, she was playing with her so much and it made me so happy because you love her so much too. Oh my my God.
No, you think I don't like her, which is crazy.
I do think you don't like her. Oh, look at her. She's like, shut up.
Oh, you're like crying.
I love her so much. I'm just so scared that she's going to die one day.
Well, let's not be unrealistic, but she's got time.
Oh, God. Right, Link? You're good. Not the point. Move on. Talk about something else. You crying too? Yeah.
I think maybe you can relate to this as a giver. I have a lot of giver insecurities as far as specifically when I'm talking to a taker and I don't take the approach of asking a question to like feed into their conversation. If I like briefly acknowledge something that they said and I say how I relate to it, or I say something, I often get like, well, they didn't ask you that. And because I'm so question forward, typically, like I said, this helped me, this article helped me give the perspective of other different like conversation styles, but I never thought that other people didn't fall back to asking questions. So I would constantly be like, oh, they're not asking, but I'm talking. Am I talking too much about myself?
Yes.
Am I stealing the conversation?
Yep.
Am I looking like a narcissist?
Literally.
So a lot of the times if I get to like that in my head, I'll fully fall back and I'll be like, I'll let them talk. And then that's when the conversation dies. And then a lot of the time it like feeds into my insecurities.
Yes. Literally, I don't even have anything to say. Yes, I agree to every single word you just said. It's actually a big thing that I feel not only happens in like the real world, but on this podcast. I feel like it's like a big line for me. We've talked about this a little bit too. Like,
yeah,
this podcast is obviously, we love it so much and it does so much for our friendship here on this couch. But I also really constantly, like even in between like takes that you guys see on the final cut, I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. I feel like we need to like give them more. What are they? I always say like, what are people going to get from this episode? And we're like, okay, yeah.
What questions are they asking in their head that we're not answering?
Or yeah, just like, I mean, it's called Oddvice. Like I always want to make sure at the end of every topic, even the fucking silly ones, like you guys notice, I always try to bring it back to like a lesson,
learning, right? Like a learning moment.
Because I always want it to be of value. Like there's so much, I'm diverting a little bit, but there's so much content out there that like, I'm like, what is this actually giving to the world? Whatever, that's a bigger topic. But to your point, I mean, the way this is beyond this give or taker concept now. The way that I feel, at least on my path, my journey, that I can help others in this life is by my experiences. Because ultimately that's all I could talk on, right? So what you're talking about happens a lot on this podcast because I'm like, I'm trying to like help people here, but now I feel like I'm just fucking talking about my trauma and my childhood and it sounds so me. But
it's the only way we can relate.
Right. That's why I keep doing it. But then I often walk away from recording where I'm like, did I just like make that about me? And like, literally, yes, I did. But I don't want it to come off as I'm like, listen up, guys, me time now. Like, it's just my only way to at least like help someone listening that like has gone through it too. And
right. And this is this is
so frustrating.
Quite literally, this is the hardest conversation to have is with you guys when you aren't there to ask us questions.
Yes, that's literally why we have Patreon.
Right. And we have to kind of assume what you guys want to hear. Yeah. And they're not feeding us the questions and they're not, but we're not bouncing taker ideas back and forth with each other. We have to pull it out of our ass. I'm putting in air quotes because we have to, that's all we have in this conversation dynamic with you guys on the podcast is our experiences. Yeah. And that's why we have us too, because, and that's, it's the whole basis of the podcast is our two different perspectives.
Yes.
So that's where the two bits come from.
Right.
But I see that.
And to your point before that, like aside from the podcast, that was just like the most relevant example in my head. I do feel it in normal conversations too, like whether it's romantic or not. I'm like, am I talking too much? Have I overcompensated and now it sounds like I'm not interested in them at all?
Right.
And then I also go on the other side of it where like I'm a very open person and I feel like I could talk about anything the first 10 minutes I'm talking to you. And then I'm like, now am I asking them too many questions that they don't want to talk about? Because I'll go deep. I'll be like, I'll be like, well, how did your mom treat you growing up? Like, I'll go into like deep questions like that some people just aren't comfortable answering.
Right.
And I need to remember that.
Yeah.
But I love connecting with people on those type of topics, but I can't assume that everybody is just as okay to do that. So it does put a lot of insecurity in my socializing. Yes.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard. And especially hard to go into conversations with people that you don't know, assuming their conversation style.
Yeah.
And not getting any hint to like what it is or how they want that dynamic to work out.
Right.
And you're only feeding your own insecurities. It's really hard when it's not a match.
Yeah.
But when it is a good match,
I mean,
and it flows,
it's great.
It's great. But it's really rare for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit often where I can like sit and bounce off someone else and have like a really good conversation back and forth. And I think that the fact that it is rare also feeds my insecurities, because I'm like, why can't I meet someone who has the same conversation style as me, where I don't feel insecure having these back and forth conversations?
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, it's a catch-22. Like it's a cycle.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that the conversations that aren't perfectly flowing are bad.
Right.
It's just like it scratches an itch when you have the good one and you're like, you crave it. I mean, we're humans. We want that flow. We want to, like I was saying earlier, we want that person.
We want it to
feel
be
like that person
effortless.
Wants to hear us. Yes. Effortless and natural. Because then new parts of the conversation come out when you're not worried about the conversation. You're just now talking about the topic.
Right.
And the passion comes out and the connection comes out. But yeah, it almost makes me wish the topic of, hey, what's your conversation style?
Literally,
before
I was
we
like,
get into this,
I was like almost
was
scared. I
normal.
was scared to say that, but yes, I wish I could sit down in a conversation and be like, so do you like to ask questions? Or do you?
I think we can approach it a little bit. Can you read this article and let me know which one you want?
No, literally.
I think like that could be cool in like a dating app. You send them the article and be like, hey, have you ever thought about this?
Wait, that's really cool. I almost sent it to the guy that I'm seeing.
Do it.
I know I should.
By all means. Him especially, if you guys are there. I think it's something that I will try to bring into conversation next time. Like,
and on top of the or I guess below the surface level of just the topic, it's also so interesting to me how like the human brain works in this dynamic and like in this situation. Everyone's so different, and this is just a concept that we don't think about on the daily until like this article has been in my brain since the second I saw it.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I had ever thought about was even a thing before I saw it. So it's just one of those things that like I want to connect with somebody on. Like, do you think about this too? Which is cool, on top of the also learning how they communicate. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think your answer to that majority of the time is going to be yes. We always think we're the only ones thinking it, and we're not. I think we've all learned that on this podcast, especially. We say things and thousands of you are like, me too. And it's like, that is an example right there for topics beyond just this topic. You're not the only one thinking it. Sorry to burst your bubble. No, your thought is not original. I think opening up conversations with people, bringing down walls about less about topics and more about like, hey, how do you work as a human, should be normalized more.
Yes.
Well, how do you think about this? Not what do you think? How do you think?
And getting to that vulnerability quick. Like, I remember I went on a first date like almost a year ago, and one of the first thing we talked about was how nervous we were for the date. And it got rid of all the nerves.
Yes.
It got rid of all the nerves because we were like, were you nervous? Were you nervous? Yeah, we were both nervous.
Were you scared? The TikTok audio, were you scared? Who was scared? Yeah, I did the same thing on my date. The only date I've been on in New York.
Yes.
That one. We talked about, not necessarily about nerves, but we talked about like how we usually like to express our expectations when it comes to like dating new people, and how we're so okay. We were both so okay with being straight up about it, whereas others kind of, nothing wrong with it, but like some people will conform to what the other person's saying just to make them comfortable, and like that's just like a shitty foundation to build.
Okay, we're going to get into a little bit of small talk, because I feel like small talk is a hot take. Like some people die hard small talkers, but then some people, how do you feel? I'm a love-hate relationship with small talk. I like it if it leads to, like, if you use it as a stepping stone to lead into something else, but if it stays mundane the whole conversation, I'm already checked out.
I check out really
quickly. But if you say like, if you use weather is such like a small talk topic. If you use weather, for example, to like lead into a conversation, but then you tell me a crazy story about like a windstorm that hit Coachella at one point.
Yes.
I could work with that.
Yep.
Like that could lead to so many other topics. It's a doorknob.
Yeah.
It's a good stepping stone for a good flow of a conversation. But if it stays small talk the whole time,
We're not clicking.
No.
Small talk, I don't have like a huge opinion on it because I do understand it's necessary. I don't think I've ever been in a situation, especially with like a new human, where we didn't start with small talk.
Right.
It's necessary. It's the same way you say your name. Hi, I'm Kristen.
Yeah.
Like you do have to start there, but you nailed it perfectly. I don't give it much attention. I'll entertain it for maybe 5 minutes, but then if we keep talking about, again, we'll go back to weather, I'll then be like, oh, well, where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
What was the weather like that? Oh my God. What were your recess days like? Did you guys like, what were your rainy day activities? Oh, really? Like, what was your favorite subject in school? Oh, and then I'm going, whether you like it or not, I'm going to immediately divert the situation and go deeper. But like, I do respect that people need it. So like,
yep.
I never just like disregard it. I'll entertain it, but like, I don't like sitting in it. Like you said, it becomes, I'm like, if we're both not into this, why are we still talking?
It's a waste of breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't love it. The thing with small talk, though, it being kind of the first impression dialogue, I think it is an opportunity to really, really pick up on what I'm about to go into. Body language right off the bat. It's a good way to like entertain a conversation while I'm thinking about other things.
Right.
I'm like, how, like,
it's
what's their body language right now?
Mindless.
What's their eye contact like? How heavy are they trying to stay in this? Because sometimes I will go into the deeper, we'll keep using the weather. Where are you from? What was the weather like growing up? And then they bring it back to small talk. I'm like, okay, check. They don't want to go deeper than this. Like I can kind of use it as like a
little
gauge
roadmap
of where this is going to go, what they're comfortable with. Is this worth either of our time? Like whatever the case is, I use it as my waiting room before we get into the rest of the conversation.
Nice. I like that. I never thought of it like that.
That's what it is. I feel like that's like why it's there.
Right.
It's just like, it's primal. It's two animals being like, we're sniffing each other's butts.
Yes. You're testing
like,
the waters. You're dipping your toes in the waters.
What mood are they in? Like, do I need to be happy? Does it seem like they need to talk about something? Should I bring this into that? Like I really start to read like what they need, honestly.
Yeah.
I rarely go into a situation unless it's with like a best friend where I'm like, I need to talk about this with someone who's like a stranger, obviously. So I'm always like, what do they need?
Yeah.
And then I go off that.
Very smart. That's a really cool approach. I never thought to do that.
Yeah.
Or like have that mindset going into a conversation.
What is your mindset around small talk? Like, I know you said you the Coachella example, the weather, like you go there, but what do you do in the situation where like the people bring it back to the small talk and like,
see, I usually let them lead and like,
okay.
I'm okay with where they're at. If they go there, then I'm always open. I'm an open book too, but like, I won't lead that.
Yeah.
If they go there, I'm open to it. And like, I'm always welcoming of wherever you want to go with the conversation. But as far as like gauging when to go deeper or bring it back to small talk, it's their game.
Okay.
Fully.
So you just allow them to take the lead.
Yeah.
And you'll kind of go there. I think I often wish I was like that more. Because that's kind of what I was saying. I feel like I get too like punchy.
It's the way I've kept myself safe in situations because I know that like I could hang if it's on their terms.
Yeah.
Whereas if I try to take the lead and it's a shot in the dark, I'm like, all right, then I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I get defeated.
Yeah.
But if I'm in my safe zone if they take the lead.
I feel the exact opposite. I feel like, I don't know why, I feel like it's my duty to keep in a social situation, big group of people or just me and one other person. I feel like it is my duty
to like keep the conversation going.
I don't know why. Nobody gave me that name tag.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, all right, game plan. Like
I feel that sometimes, but I'll ask questions. And I think that's my like, okay, Alex, the conversation's dying out. How do we keep this afloat? I'll ask a question, but I won't lead the depth.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like my question basis is always off of their dynamic.
Okay.
And like,
You're a mediator.
Yes.
It's literally what a mediator is. Like, we're talking about a panel. The panelists are talking about the new topics, their opinions. They're going back and forth with each other. And then when there's a lull, they all look to the mediator, and the mediator changes the subject, and now the panel goes back into that subject.
Okay.
Like, it's like I mean, it's an ebb and flow. It's just as necessary as the next thing.
Right.
I definitely want to stress that every single part of a conversation, whatever type of conversationalist you are, is equally as necessary.
Yeah.
Like, that's all. You're just as big of a part as a beautiful conversation as the person who's nodding their head. Like, you need it all.
Right.
That's why, like, I'm not disagreeing with this article we started the podcast with, but I did think it was interesting. They were like, it goes giver, giver, taker, taker. Because in my head, I'm like, for some reason, I would think you need yin and yang. Like, you need
a little bit of back and forth.
Right.
I think that's where the at least for me, I think that's where the insecurities come in, is when it's not a match. Because then we have different mindsets, like what I talked about earlier, as far as like a giver talking to a taker. I'm constantly worried that they're not interested in what I have to say, and like I'm overstepping if I kind of switch sides and say something about me.
Yep.
And like if they're interested, they'll ask, kind of thing.
Right.
But
that question right there is something I constantly have to tell myself to shut up. I'm like,
yeah,
they'll ask if they want your advice, Kristen. You don't need to always be like, this is what I would do. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
I actually talk about it a lot in therapy, but it's like I said, it's like I want to help though, but like didn't we say this in the last episode? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Like, not everybody wants your help, Kristen. Who would have thought?
I was recently reading this book called Calypso, and he talks about when we encounter passerbys, so like people in retail stores, or he talks about the hotel desk clerk. When we get into the hotel and we check in, their first question is always, so how was your trip in? And small talk like that is always so mundane. And he talks about, they say it 100 times a day, but they don't really care.
No.
And when people ask, how are you? Do you really want to know how I am?
Nope.
No, they don't. So he talks about why don't people like start to switch that dynamic and that mindset? And if you're going to speak something, speak it with intention and ask question. If you're going to ask a question, make it meaningful. So he always comes back with, do you have a godson? And like ask, not that specifically, but ask questions that like, if we're going to sit here and have a conversation, let's lead it somewhere.
Yep.
Which I think is a cool dynamic, and something like, I mean, we had just talked about like going deeper or small talk, and it's not that black and white. Asking something like, do you have a godson, could lead to pretty like surface level conversations, you could say, but we're still getting to know each other.
Right.
And it's not small talk in the sense of like weather and stuff, which is so interesting because I feel like, I mean, we all fall into it. Every time I walk into a store or I walk out of an elevator, have a good day. Like, you know, it's nice and it's courtesy, but if you're going to open your mouth and like say something to the person next to you in the elevator, why not be like, do you live in New York, or do you know, like,
yes.
Are you just visiting?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a cool way to think about opening up a conversation with someone, that it's not so by the book, something that everyone says.
It's not so robotic.
Right.
It becomes so robotic. I was talking about this with Tanner the other day, actually. And I was talking about it with my therapist. It's like something I'm really valuing lately is just quality conversation. Like, literally like the same way I feel about clothes. Like, I'm going to invest in nicer pieces that are going to last longer. And that's how I'm starting to feel about conversations. Like, there's so much, there's such a flow we get into where now, hi, how are you is one word. Mm-hmm. When how are you is actually should be a really like endearing conversation.
Exactly.
And we all fall into it because I mean, we're taught it from a young age. Like, it's courteous, it's nice, whatever. But I don't know. I don't love it anymore. Like, now I'll just be like, hi. Like, if anything, I just keep it short. Like, I feel like it has reverse effects. It's like, you don't actually care.
Right.
Like,
I think that a lot on dating apps specifically, when people hit me up first, a new match, and they say, hey, Alex, how are you? I'm like, whoa, you don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
How much do you want me to actually unpack here?
That's why whenever I'm asked it, I feed into the problem. I literally I say, like, I always say, live in the dream. How are you? Like, I use just something so sarcastic because I'm like, you're not actually.
Yeah.
asking. I don't know. I'd rather start with like, where did you get those shoes in the second picture?
Right.
Like something
like this guy talks about.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Something that's it's still lighthearted, it's still easy talk, but it's gonna create some kind of dynamic between the conversation.
Right. Like I'm okay with lighthearted. I understand that, like we were saying earlier, like not everybody's gonna be so willing to talk about the deep shit. But when I was talking about it with Tanner, it was like him and I mean, we talk every day, and like we are only able to connect over the phone, obviously, because he lives across the country. And I was like, I love talking to you every day, but like we just kind of sit on the phone and like it's the same thing every time. Like, I want to start having like it's meaningful conversations. Again, it can still be lighthearted, but meaningful, and like
learn something
critically thinking, and like, something new. Or I don't know. I feel so like stagnant when it comes to communication with people sometimes. And like, I'm at a point in my life where it's really a big standard to not be like that. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know. It's just been like so relevant in my life lately. So I'm glad we're doing this episode. Maybe that's why we haven't done it up to this point, because I didn't value it as much.
I think this is a good lead into comfortable silence too.
Yes.
I really value comfortable silence. And I think it's a really big standard for me. It's hard for me to connect with people who are constantly trying to fill the silence because I'm so not there. If I'm able to comfortably sit in a room with you, even someone new, like even on a first or second date, if we can sit in silence and like look at the menu and not have to feel awkward about sitting in silence, it's a really big thing for me.
For sure. The sitting in, I feel the same way. I kind of wish we had different looks at this, because I know it's a big thing for a lot of people that are the silence fillers. It's because you're uncomfortable. It's because like, I'm sure I've had times where like I will be uncomfortable in silence and I'll start getting like hot in the face, and like I start getting like flushed and I start overthinking. But as I've gotten older, I've really started to value it as well. And like, it's definitely something you and I do all the time.
Right.
All the time. Like,
and I think that's why we valued our conversation on Friday, at least me.
Yeah.
Like we do sit in silence a lot.
Yep.
But then there's those moments where, and I think that's what makes it worth it for me, is those moments where you do have like really good conversations and you're able to, kind of like how you were saying with Tanner, you're able to appreciate them a little more.
Exactly. It's the perfect yin and yang of a meaningful conversation. Like it's almost like save up all that stuff for like a meaningful conversation, rather than just being like, oh my God, did I tell you about blah, 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 when you know you already told them about that, but you're just filling the silence. Or we'll go back to the date. You're looking at the menu and you're like, oh my God, did you see the funny name of this? Haha. I feel almost bitchy saying this right now, but
but I totally get it. And you really read it in the intention of what they're saying and like when they're saying it and how they're saying it. Because if they're like, for example, you were saying on the menu, like if they reference like a meme or something, you're like, I don't know, maybe this is just our overthinking brains, but I'm like, what are you trying to get out of bringing this up?
I know. Like, that's why I feel bitchy right now. Because I'm like, well, maybe they're just trying to talk to you, Kristen.
Right.
Like,
no, I think that too. But like, how do I put this?
Just say it and we'll do the disclaimers afterwards. Just say it. No judgment.
I don't know. I want everything to feel intentional. Yep. And if you're going to sit here and try and fill silence, you could do that with anybody. And I'm probably not the person if you just want someone to be an ear.
Yeah.
Because I want something a little more interactive.
Yeah.
And something where we're going to learn a little bit about each other. Like if you're going to point something out on the menu and talk about a meme, keep going with it.
Yeah.
Don't just bring it up to like talk about something that
to fill the silence.
To fill the silence.
That's what we're getting to here. It's like Alex and I aren't saying like,
fuck, you guys are gonna
don't bring up stupid shit. We don't want to talk about stupid shit.
No, we talk about stupid shit all the time.
It's more so like, it's the balance of it. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that like we can tell you're only doing it because there's silence.
Yeah.
I guess what I wish I could do is make people comfortable enough to not feel like they need to do that. And that's where I wish, or I want to start asking people what their communication styles are. And
right.
if they say like, I just honestly like, I hate silence, like then I can approach it way differently and I will keep it unsilent, but with meaningful things.
Right.
Like I'm okay. I do love silence, but I'm also okay without it if we're talking about something of value. So if I know somebody doesn't like, I can name a lot of people in my life that don't like silence. Honestly, Tanner's one of them.
Yeah.
But I'll like, knowing that we're at a point where I could be like, hey, shut up. And like, we'll like giggle about it.
Right.
But I'll also like when he was here and we went to dinner, like we kept the conversation, like me knowing that I kept the conversation with things of value, and like,
right.
I can morph to that.
I want to say, when we're talking about like meaningful conversations and things of value, we're not always talking about deep shit.
No. No.
It's literally like, how do I like, for example, how we said someone bringing up a meme. If you could take it one step further and talk about like meme culture, and like, even if we go into our favorite Vine compilations and meme, like,
and like how, like, what's your humor like?
Right.
Was your humor like that? Or your parents like that too? Oh yeah. Did it like,
if it's gonna go there, I'm so game.
Yes.
I'm all for it. I'm back and forth.
Like, I could talk about poop jokes all day.
Right.
But like, let's talk about our favorite one and where you learned that. And like
SpongeBob humor and Friends humor. Like
I'll stay stupid.
Yes.
I don't want to call it stupid, but I'll
Surface
stay like
level.
surface level and
Yeah.
silly and lighthearted. But I just want to talk, like, if we're going to talk about it.
Right.
Rather than just like,
I want it to be a tennis game. I want it to be back and forth.
yes, this is literally what I said to my therapist. I love to debate.
Yeah.
Light-hearted or not, I love to just converse.
Back and
I
forth.
want to bounce off. I like, tennis match is a perfect analogy. I want to like boom, boom, back, forth, do like.
Yep. And if you're, I sometimes read that if you're filling the silence, you're doing it not with the intention of a back and forth.
Exactly. I'm doing it. I'm now assuming like maybe you're uncomfortable, and then now I start overthinking about like, is it something I'm doing? And then that's when like, then I'll maybe like, I often think, are they filling the silence with surface level things because they are trying to talk more?
Right.
But then I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk too much. I've already been talking so much. And maybe they think I'm talking too much, and maybe now they're filling the silence with their voice because they want to talk more. So let me ask them questions. Oh shit, they just turned down that question. Maybe they don't want to talk. But maybe but I thought they did. They filled the silence. Do you guys see what I'm getting to here?
This is my brain every day.
Yep. So your communication style, the growing up when you were at like restaurants with your family, did your parents like make you order and like?
Yeah, I fully ordered for myself.
Like, did they like, I guess I'll just go off what my parents did. My mom would like, I remember being young and her being like, all right, when they come over, you're going to say, hi, can I please? Like, she taught me how to communicate.
Yeah.
Was that a big thing for you guys?
I don't remember specifically like them teaching me that, but I do remember. I just told you about this recently. I remember one time my parents.
My God. It's so cute.
I was laying in bed with my parents, me and my brother and my parents. We were probably like, this was like 2003, probably. No, probably like 2000. Anyway, we're laying in bed. It's a Sunday and we all want to order pizza, and we're watching movies, and my parents were like, okay, we can get pizza if one of you guys calls the pizza place. And me and my brother are literally like throwing the phone back and forth at each other because we're both scared to call the pizza place.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of we kind of all go through that growing up, is like the anxiety to talk to strangers and everything. Like I said, I don't remember specifically when my parents taught me to like hold a conversation like that with a stranger. And like the waitress is such a good example, and that's like such a good teaching moment.
Oh yeah.
But I think I've always kind of like solo, like by myself, individually took that as an opportunity to like talk to strangers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's the whole nature versus nurture. That's just your personality type, which
Right.
is great. But I it's something I really appreciate my family doing.
Yeah, no, that's great.
My mom is such a communicator, such a talker. She's worked in customer service and banking since she was younger than we are right now. And she's so good at conversing with people. She's so just like, that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
Is watching her grow up with the waitress, with the hotel clerk.
She's got such a mouthpiece.
That's the word. She is a fucking mouthpiece. And she doesn't do the small talk. I mean, honestly, I'm a lot like her with the communication. That's where I learned it from. She'll start with it. She'll be respectful with it. But then right away, my mom has this ability to make you feel like you are her best friend.
Yes.
In the first 5 minutes of meeting her, she already has you telling her about what you did last summer. Where did you get your clothes? Like, she fully just goes into it. And that's totally where I got it from. And I feel like I'm just so grateful that I was around a situation like that, because I think that's why I am the way I am now versus situations people grow up in where their parents aren't like that. Like I could only imagine that'd be so frustrating to learn how to communicate when you're not around anybody that does it.
Right.
And I mean, that's why like school is so important when you're growing up.
Socializing.
Being around,
and like
it's so important to exercise it.
Yeah.
I just want to make that point for anybody who you feel like you're struggling with, being okay with these social situations. It's a muscle, and
it's practice.
Just because you might not have done it growing up, like the examples we're giving it now, it doesn't mean you can't do it, but you do have to force yourself, and it'll be hard. It'll be uncomfortable, but oh my God, it's such a muscle. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah. Even
if I have, I was sick with a stomach bug last week, and even those like 5 days I was inside, the 6th day when I finally was good and I went out, I did feel a little uncomfortable. But then, I gave it 24 hours and you get back into it. But like, it totally is a muscle. And I don't know, if you're a parent listening, I can't stress enough to really guide your kids to be okay with communicating, have them order for themselves, have them call to order pizza. I love that so much. Like my mom would always make sure like I was greeting people right when she was too. Like,
yes.
They'd be like, hi. Like even if it's just a little hi. It's just so important. And I don't know. I just can't stress it enough. I think I also, I grew up around a lot of adults.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of kids like in like family vibes. Obviously school was surrounded by kids.
See, I was constantly surrounded by cousins.
Because my little cousin. I wasn't. And this isn't obviously like the only way to get communication styles, but I feel like growing up.
You were thrown into adult conversations so quickly.
So quickly. Yeah. Literally like standing around the circle, they'd all be talking about whatever they're talking about, and I wouldn't necessarily pop in with like my 2 cents because they were talking about like tax policy, but
you saw the dynamic,
hearing it too. Yep. Like we're little sponges. That's so interesting. I think my niece and nephew are kind of in the same situation right now because
oh my God, they're such good conversationalists.
It's crazy. They're so good at
Ollie,
talking.
I feel like I could probably sit and have a conversation with him for hours.
No, I think it might have been a Patreon episode. I don't know, but we were talking about how literally he'll talk about how like the gas supply chain works in the US, or like he'll talk about like, I know I already use this as an example, but like he will talk about tax policy. Like he's otherworldly. Monica she's such a social person herself that she always has obviously adults around them, her friends, and they'll like on a weekend, like they'll stay up late with all the friends and they'll sit around and play cards with these adults and like and responsibly. Don't worry, my sister's not over here like doing coke on the table like in front of them, nothing like that. But like I think there's
no baby talk, there's no baby treatment. She's never talked to them in a baby voice.
And my mom wasn't like that either.
Human being. They're people.
Exactly. And that was such a big thing when Monica had first had Ollie, that's her firstborn. She literally would tell people like, it's not the potty, it's the bathroom.
Right.
I mean, straight up, like it's not your private, it's your penis or your vagina. Like vocabulary is so important growing up too, to have the confidence to talk.
And it takes away the taboo of it all.
Sure, of those specific topics. Yeah. But like your vocabulary is just as valuable as your comfort and socializing. And I think that's something that's overlooked a lot too. I don't know. I think it was really valuable to be around so many adults, but also you got to be a kid too.
Right.
It's the balance with everything in life.
Yeah. I don't have many like examples as far as adult conversations that like I don't specifically remember being so thrown into adult conversations growing up, because I was always surrounded by so many kids my age, so it was always like playing with the kids and like what we're talking about.
Go off with the kids. yeah, for sure.
That's where humor was built for me.
Oh yeah. Mine was SpongeBob. Strictly SpongeBob and drama.
I think this was probably like a year and a half ago. I was going on one of my first dates after getting out of my relationship, and I was really nervous, and I was like, Kristen, I'm not gonna have anything to talk about. And you were like, of course you are. You taught me, and I like always, every time I go on a date, I always think about this now. You taught me about like spatial awareness and pulling things that like I could see and starting a conversation there. And like, I think the example that you gave me was pick something on the menu, and then we specifically this date that I had went on, we went to a tequila bar or like a cocktail place, and you were like, pick a drink, see what words are in the drink, and then talk about like a story about that drink. Does that make sense? Do you remember telling me this?
Yep.
And I think that night I used that. There was a little lull in the conversation and I was looking at a drink, and then I had gone into a conversation about how like my feelings about gin and like how I love Hendrix and all of this whole other doorknob that I was able to present because of a small thing that you had told me, and now it's in my head. And that's just like one example of something that I've always kept for when there's lulls in conversations, is kind of like look around the room and pick something. Like, even if it's one thing that I did on my recent date with this guy that I'm seeing, is there's all these really cool lamps in this restaurant that we went to, and I was like, there was a little conversation, I was looking around, and these lamps reminded me of this Instagram page, Ace of Shades, that I've always followed, and really pretty lamps, and I was able to talk about that. And then we got into a conversation about heirlooms that we get, or heirlooms, yeah,
like in your family.
In your family. For some reason my head went to tomato.
Yes. Literally weird that those are both the same words.
Right.
Yeah.
But we started talking about heirlooms that we get from our families, and we started talking about our dead grandparents, and like it really it allowed me to kind of use something kind of random to allow the conversation to pick up and flow.
Yep.
So spatial awareness.
That's like kind of what I mean around the snowball effect of small talk. Mm-hmm. Like, don't be intimidated. What was that? Don't be
no,
intimidated.
You're getting ready for London.
No, literally. Don't be intimidated by where the conversation needs to end up. Don't worry about that right now. Start small and let it flow naturally. That's when the best conversations happen, for me at least, is when I'm not trying to get somewhere. I'm just like, I want to talk to you, so I'm going to start with something literally right in front of us, something I could see. I think I do that because I just do that even when I'm alone. I'm always on a swivel. I do be just like looking around. Like, even in my own home, I'm just like, like I just look around, and that's how my brain works anyway. I'm actually having like an aha moment right now, because
Love that.
that part of me that you now see so much value in and like have adopted yourself is actually something I literally cried about to my therapist, because I feel crazy because my mind doesn't stop.
Oh my God.
I walk around and look at everything,
That's
and I'm like,
so admirable.
well, I wonder when that was built. I wonder what it was like when they were like, where's the blueprint right now? I wonder who owns it. I wonder if there's stains on it. Do you think it's even still blue? Why is it called a blueprint? Where was that term invented?
See, in my head
I don't shut up. Like, it doesn't shut up. I literally cried because I was like, I think I'm crazy.
See, in my head, that like I wish my brain worked like that, because those are such good conversation topics.
But when you're having them alone 24/7, when you're just trying to walk and go get a fucking croissant,
I could see the dilemma. No, I know. I get it.
It's really loud.
Go listen to our What Goes On in Your Head episode from season 2, because that'll just give you a little insight on.
Go look up ballroom chatter on YouTube, and that's what's inside my head 24/7. I'm having 30 conversations
Kristen,
at once.
my head is blank.
I'm still
75% of the time.
We're having this conversation, I'm still thinking, I just said croissant 30 seconds ago, and I'm still picturing the waitress at Maman this morning.
That's so powerful.
But I'm talking to you. I don't need to be thinking about her. I complimented her nails. They were like mauve and sparkly. They were so cute. But like, I don't need to be thinking about that. Like, it's every which way.
Yeah. I get the frustration, but I'm glad that, like, I want you to remember this moment, because I wish I was like that, because sometimes I feel like my head is that episode in SpongeBob where the tumbleweed is like, that's my brain 75% of the time.
And like, I'm the one where the printers are going crazy and they're running around and there's flyers. And
no, this is such a good example, because when I'm alone, I'm so okay with that. But when I'm with other people and I'm in that, and I've got that SpongeBob scene in my head, that's when I'm like, fuck, how am I going to hold a conversation right now?
I get you.
But you
sit down. She's literally standing up. Sorry about my dog.
But with you have all of these things going on in your head, and I see the frustration when you're by yourself, because you can't put an end to it. But when you're with other people, you can switch it to use it as a tool. Yeah. And like, I don't have that tool.
I get that.
So I have to
like that perspective.
manually pull things, like you said, or like you taught me, the spatial awareness thing. I have to manually think, okay, I'm going to bring this up. And it's like, it's embarrassing sometimes that I feel like I have to pull things out of nowhere to start a conversation.
Well, the way you just told me not to judge myself, you shouldn't either.
Right.
Because what are we going to do? Turn it off? That's the problem here. It's who we are. We got to just accept it.
Right.
And we clearly both have pros and cons to it and ways that it helps us out. You're able to relax really well, which is so powerful because you have a calm mind, which is a calm life. And and that's why I
the way your eyes are getting bigger as you're continuing your
I'm still thinking about the croissant. Like my head's all over the place.
I forgot about it.
I'm literally thinking about how my window's still open. I haven't closed it today and it's a little cold in here. Like it just doesn't stop. But no, you're right. I mean, it's
a tool.
It's why
how you
I
look at it.
Socialize.
Yeah.
It's like, but then I feel like I talk too much. It's crazy because like
Lily, leave that silence in.
Yes. I always have like if I'm not talking, I have a super like deadpan face. Like people ask what's wrong. Like I always look mad. And you'd think I was empty. You'd think, oh, there's nothing in there. But there was one episode. I mean, I do it probably every episode. There was one episode, I forgot which one it was, but Monica texted me a screenshot and it was me.
I think I remember this.
I think I did tell you. You were talking and like I was interested, but I was doing like my focus face where I was just like,
she sent
me a screenshot and she goes, oh boy, I know that face well. She literally said, is everything okay? Because it's the face where I just like take off the mask and I'm listening. I'm actively listening. Trust me, I'm never not doing that. But it's so loud. It's so loud that like I'm so inward that the face goes blank because I'm not thinking about what I appear, what I look like.
Right.
I'm like,
it's taken over your thought process.
It's taking over. Yeah. So that's when that face goes and where I'm just like, shut up. Everybody shut up.
Whoa.
And it gets loud. And then I start worrying that it's coming off as I'm not interested, where it's like, don't worry. I'm listening to you, but I'm already I'm already thinking about how I'm going to help you through it. I'm already thinking about what you're saying and where that stemmed from. And I want to ask about this certain part of your childhood because it's analyzing. I'm just analyzing everything. And I want to say like, not in a judgy way. I don't like my natural means to analyze is not to judge ever. It's to understand. I constantly judge situations and pick apart, and I yearn to understand everything around me because I enjoy it. But my therapist recently told me it's because I want someone to do it to me. Like it's something I built to make sure other people don't feel like I don't want to know or help them.
Right.
You know?
I don't, but I understand you. I wish I could relate to understand more.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. And I do see your frustration a lot of the time.
That's all thank you. That's literally all I ever want that's why I constantly go, does that make sense? Because I constantly think I don't make sense.
Me too.
Because I'm so like, but like, sorry, wiping my nose. It's like that right there. And I could tell you mean that. Like, yeah, I did make sense. And that means a lot. So thank you.
And we always tell each other, okay, hold on, say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that takes balls.
And we don't
it's
get
hard to do that to other people.
Right.
I'm socially comfortable and still I don't think I'd be like, wait, what did you just say? Because then I don't want them to feel like I'm not listening or that they're dumb.
Right.
Or that they're not being articulate enough because it's a me problem. It's not them. It's just like, hold on, rephrase that again.
Right.
But like, I know that can make people feel insecure in their communication styles.
Yeah. And this is a good point because a lot of the time on the other side of it, when I get like my brain farts, I had one the other night when I was at this guy's house.
Oh, you did?
Oh my God.
You didn't tell me this. What happened?
I don't
mean to laugh, but I'm just picturing you being like,
no.
And he's like poking you.
I get like really bad brain farts. Like I don't even know what I was saying. I don't know what I was about to say. It's like my mouth moves faster than my brain sometimes and my brain can't catch up and then it's just gone. Like the train whizzed by and I lost my opportunity.
Have you seen Inside Out?
Maybe like when it first came out.
Do you remember the train of thought? It's literally like a train and it like goes off the track.
I need to rewatch it.
Oh, it's
because
so
it's
cute.
Probably me because my train is constantly off the track.
That movie, oh my God. If you have not seen Inside Out, please watch it. yes, it's Pixar, it's animation, but they know what the fuck they're doing.
They always know what they're doing.
Right. All the analogies and the way they break down the brain
and emotions
is like so accurate. Same with Soul. If you've ever seen Soul.
Oh my God, Soul was so good.
Like, I love their depiction of like the afterlife and like your soul picking your body. Oh, it's everything. Sorry.
No.
Continue. See? Shut up.
It's okay. I like that sometimes because when I have... See, this is why sometimes we get comments that like, you talk too much and I need to grow balls and tell you to stop talking. But this is our dynamic. And I feel like it's worth saying. No, seriously.
Those comments tear me apart.
And like, we've talked about it before. And you guys see us all the time, but you don't know what goes on in our head. And this is our dynamic. And when I have my brain fart, she picks it up. And that's why it works. Like, you're able to continue the conversation when I can't. And like, I appreciate that. It's not that I don't have balls to stop you. And it's not that you have
big balls.
No, it's not that you don't have any awareness of that you're talking too much. Like, that's not the dynamic. Anyway.
Thank you for saying that.
I needed to say that because
I've always wanted to address those comments, but I never knew how. And I think this is the perfect episode.
Exactly. Too. Yeah. Beside the point, but I was at this guy's house the other night and I forget what I was talking about, but I always know when it's coming, the brain fart.
Me too.
I know when my
everything slows down.
Yeah, like everything slows down and I know when my mouth is working faster than my brain.
I know.
And like I'll get there and I know it's coming and I'll stop talking and it was quick. It was probably like 12 seconds and I was able to like divert a little bit and be like and like switch it up a little bit. So I saved myself. But in that moment, I thought, how cool would it be if I was comfortable enough to be like, and I've only been seeing this guy for a little bit and I think I'll get there because I am comfortable with him. But in general, how cool would it be if I could be like, fuck, I just had a brain fart with someone new like that? Because we all do it and like we can, but it's in the moment. It's so like, oh, I
don't want to admit it.
I don't, and you don't want to, it throws a wrench in the flow of the conversation.
Yeah. It does.
And it like, we're having a good conversation right now and I just threw a wrench in it and now like there's going to be a weird silence and it's just this whole thing that goes in my head in the moment of like why I'm not going to say that I just had a brain fart. And then I don't know. It's just
I completely understand.
I felt like it was worth bringing up because I don't know, hopefully you guys can relate as far as the brain farts.
In those situations where you just said like, I wish I could have the confidence to say it because like I know we all do it. Things like that in life, like there's so many other human things that like I know we all do, like we were saying, but nobody has the balls to say it. That's when I say it.
Yeah.
And then I've never had because I'll say it to strangers like, sorry, I totally just had a brain fart. Anyway, it'll come back to me and I let it go. Right. Unless it's like something really, and we're having like a meaningful conversation, I will be like, hold on, give me a sec. And we will sit in silence and I'll have my finger up like this with my eyes closed. But like, aside from that, I think it's totally okay to be like, sorry, I totally just had a brain fart. Anyway, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
no judgment there.
Yeah. I think more so my social anxiety as far as like I work so hard to get the conversation here and like I've done so well. It's more so the wrench that, like I said, the wrench that I'm throwing into the conversation that stops it. That's my like, fuck, you fucked it up.
You just self-judgment. You start like harping on yourself for it.
Yeah.
In those situations, like social situations where I start to judge myself and I throw it with this perspective at you all the time. Would you give someone shit if they had a brain fart? No.
I'd be like, yes, I do that too.
Boom, done. I give that perspective
it's so much easier said than done.
Sure, of course. But I mean, it's anybody else listening too. Like
right.
Those situations where you think someone's going to judge you. This goes beyond conversations. An outfit, a pimple,
right?
A funny laugh that you're insecure about.
Doing something stupid when you're drunk.
Literally like 99.9% of the time, they're more focused on themselves.
Yes.
They're not going to be like.
No one's going to remember.
What the hell do you remember back in 2008 when Alex had a brain fart? What a nerd. What a loser butt. Like,
right.
No one's going to do that. I just realized I didn't put on deodorant when I put my arm up like that. I need to put on deodorant. I'm like stress sweating. I'll write it out.
You're just thinking.
No, I know. I actually showered before this, but I have about a 10-minute window after the shower that I need to put on deodorant.
It's got to be quick. It's got to be quick.
Now I'm like,
and now you
growing bacteria.
You can't layer it. You can't put deodorant.
I will.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah,
but
I'm going to be home today. So like, that's fine.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, if we're going out,
no.
soap and
water.
You
got a fresh wash.
You have to get the bacteria off. That's what's smelling when you have BO is bacteria.
Yeah. Quick little armpit lesson.
Smells like a rubber tire. I have 2 types of BO. I either have In-N-Out burger white onions. In-N-Out.
In-N-Out.
No, not just like white onion.
In-N-Out.
Or Firestone tires.
A tire shop.
Literally.
I wrote like a list of talking points for this episode. And then I also wrote, one of the talking points was we want to get into right now is when we want to a conversation to end. And all I wrote, everything else has like paragraphs. All I wrote for this one was the handy, damn, that's crazy.
Let's start there though.
Okay. It's something that I do that I'm always like, God, am I being rude? But this is my only out. And it's usually with people, it's the silence fillers for me. It's usually the people who like kind of don't take the hint that I don't want to have a conversation right now. And they won't stop and they just keep going. And I pull out I hope they like can take this as a hint because I'm not one to be like, can you stop talking?
God, no. God, no.
No.
I'm a forward person, but I will never disrespect like that.
No, I can't. But I'll pull out everything that they say. I'll just be like, damn, that's crazy.
It's showing a subtle reaction. Crazy. It shows them, okay, they're not into this.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully they read that. And if I say it like 3 or 4 times,
like get the picture. Yeah.
Can you see that I don't want to have a conversation right now?
I'm going to say 30% of social situations though, you just gotta tough it out though sometimes. Right. The ones that don't get the hint, you're just gonna keep saying
and
it.
And it's
the sun goes down.
You know what? It's 2 birds, 1 stone-ish because I'll use that as a way for me to potentially get out of the conversation, but I'll also use it as a way for me to like entertain them having the conversation. Does that make sense? Like,
because those people do just want to talk.
If they just want to talk, I'll be there and I'll listen, and I don't want you to think I'm not gonna not say anything, and I'm not gonna like I'll like shake my head. But if they want it to be, if they just want to like word vomit and I'm just there to be an ear, I'll pull out the damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to divert a little bit before we get into ending a conversation. You said the shaking my head. I want to talk about active listening.
Ooh.
When people are telling a story or, it's their turn to talk. Let's just say that. The eye contact.
Yeah.
The active listening, the nodding the head.
I say, I mean, you guys probably hear it all the time on this podcast. I'm constantly saying, right.
Ad libs.
Yeah.
Yes. Things like that. I don't want to like give a lesson because ultimately I think things like that should come naturally. You never want to force like a.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Because it'll come off as forced.
Very cool. Like you never want to be like annoying like that. But like, I think, if you're somebody like me who can go deadpan in the face quite easily, try and be a little more conscious of like they're looking at you.
Yeah.
So like look engaged, like smile a little, or obviously it depends what you're talking about, but like I think being conscious of that
body language too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Body language and eye contact is so big for me. You don't need to be staring me down the barrel. Like I do it on this podcast all the time. If we had a zoomed in camera, like I'll look at the camera, I'll look at you, but then I always go to the right corner. I always look around, or I'll look at Link. Like looking around for me it helps my train of thought to keep going.
Right.
But I think making sure you're checking in.
Right. Because I find that too. Like if I'm looking around, I keep that as a way to keep like my mind going as they're talking.
Like stimulation.
Right. But if I do that too much, I don't want them to think that I'm not interested in what they're saying. Yeah. So it's balance.
It's balance. And I think that's why it's important to always just like check in with the eye contact. It's like when Link and I go to the park, I have taught her since she was a puppy that like she does her round and I always make sure she comes back and she boops my knee with her nose. She checks in with me. Just little communication, little body language communication that we are engaged, that like we're aware,
we're on the same
page.
Right.
I think it's important to do that in conversations, eye contact, facing them, whatever. Just one or the other.
No, I'm glad you said that. When you said keeping yourself in check, something that I do when I get really comfortable in conversations, and I do this a lot with you, is I try and finish people's sentences when people, and like I like it with you because like I know I can do it, and I know half the time like I'm able to say what I think you're gonna say. But when I get too comfortable and I do it, and sometimes I feel like I'm interjecting and I'm saying something, I'm speaking over them when that's not my intention. I just want you to know that like I understand what you're saying, and like I'm right there with you.
Yes,
and it's a fine line because I want that, and I want you to see that I'm super engaged, but I don't want you to think that I'm shutting you up.
It's something I actively work on too.
I have to keep it in check.
I have to tell myself like they're not, like I was saying earlier, like don't always assume they want that type of response. Maybe they just want to talk.
Right.
So let them finish. I do it too, dude. I mean, I know you know that. Like I'm always just like, yes, you literally, I'll sometimes know verbatim the next 4 words they're going to say.
Yep.
But let them say it. Let them say it. And then afterwards be like, you nailed it. I know exactly what you mean. You said it perfectly. And like, let them know.
Encourage their way of saying it rather than filling in the blanks for them.
Right. Yeah. If you're somebody like us where you feel like you
That's a good
interject, I think there's ways to, like, the intention behind interjecting is rarely just to be loud. It's rarely, that's never my intention. At least it's like you said, it's to show engagement, understanding and engagement. But there's other ways to do that. Did it. But like, it's me. I don't care. But yes, no, we do it all the time on this podcast.
All the time.
We do that. We do it so much where like
we rely on it. It is our Like, I know Kristen's going to pick up this next word.
Yes. We just did it right there. You just literally rewind it, do it again. Like that, we do it all the time.
Yeah. And see, I get into this mindset that like we're able, I think that's part of, I don't know.
Maybe we need to hang out with more people. We just assume this is the only dynamic.
Seriously, I get so comfortable with the fact that it's so successful in our dynamic that it could potentially be that successful with other people. When it's so not the case. And I'm so, you know what? It's so funny because I'm such a big oversharer. And a lot of the times, like, I'll overshare with someone and I think, God, Kristen would have got it.
No, same.
And I'm like, okay, Alex, but that's not Kristen.
Yeah.
It's not the same dynamic.
It's not the same.
And it's not your best friend's dynamic, and it's not your mom's or your sister's dynamic. And
right.
Sometimes it's hard to separate that. And like, especially for me, when I always like hope for a really good conversation and I want it to be so successful, and I've seen it be successful with like people like you in my life, and I like rely on those tactics, but it's not always the same with other people.
Yeah. No, it's a big reality check I give myself often. But like, that's what makes us special. And then I remember that, but it's a muscle. Like I said earlier, it's a muscle you got to exercise, and being able to adapt to social situations is something I believe everybody is capable of, but you do have to put yourself in those situations to learn and gather the tools and learn how other people work. It's, I am grateful that it's actually a big passion of mine. I love understanding other humans, but I do understand it's not the easiest thing. So I hope this episode helps you guys at least kind of get some other perspectives and
relate a little bit.
Yep. Build that confidence around it. But yeah, let's end with exiting conversations. That was a good one.
Okay.
Exiting conversation can be one of the hardest things when you're already not on the same page of the conversation. It's obviously easy to end conversations when you literally have to go. You can just be like, hey, I'm so sorry, I gotta go. But the hardest ones are the ones you just don't
no
want
real
excuse to be in. There's so many different scenarios of this. My head did go to like a bar.
Right. I was thinking like house party.
The eye contact with friends.
Yes.
This is a big female thing too. The
Save
look
me.
where you're like you widen literally 0.7 millimeters of your eye. Mm-hmm. It's a sweet spot. It's not like where the
it's
person's
not like I'm
gonna
in
notice.
danger.
No,
there's different looks.
it's just like a
Yep.
like it's like a flutter.
The lips.
Yeah, and you like swallow and you like sharp back to the person. I feel like that's ours at least.
Yes,
like,
and then I know right away.
Like come over and be like, come get a drink with me, and like break up the conversation. I don't have like one answer to give here. It's fucking hard though. The biggest thing I kind of go by is like, I don't want to waste either of our time. I wouldn't say this. I'm going to get to the dialogue in a sec. But in my head, I'm like, okay, I don't want to waste either of our time right now. But I don't want them to think I don't value what they're saying or that they're not like making sense or anything. So I think like validate and then dip. Just be like, God, that's such a good point. Hey, you know what though? We got to pick this up another time. Like, you're such a vibe. Like, throw them a compliment. You're such a vibe. I'm so glad we met. Maybe I'll see you next time. And then, and then dip. Like, wrap it up with acknowledgement, compliment of their character. Because clearly, whether the conversation didn't go that well, it started for a reason. You clearly had an attraction to talk to this person in the first place. I'm not talking just romantic, just anywhere, party.
You're drawn to each other.
You're drawn to
some
each other
extent.
somehow. Acknowledge that. Make them feel validated. Validate yourself in the interaction you just had. It wasn't a waste. And then dip. Does that make sense?
Yep. Totally.
It's hard not having an exact situation to like get out of, but like it's kind of like a version of like the compliment sandwich that people use in social situations, like, or when you're trying to give criticism, people say use a compliment sandwich. You start with the compliment, hit them with the but, and then end with
another compliment.
It's a version of that for me, where like, all right, we're gonna wrap this up, but I really did appreciate you giving me your time. Bye. Let's talk about getting out of conversations where you're like uncomfortable.
Oh.
What, like, the conversations that are my biggest fear that I put on people? Am I making this am I going too deep? What if someone's going too deep with you and you're like you might be getting triggered or like something like that? Like, how do you get out of that kind of conversation?
I feel like if I got super uncomfortable topic wise in a conversation, I would just pull the yeah, I'm not trying to talk about this right now, or we don't have to talk about it right now.
I love that.
I like we don't have to talk about it right now, so it still feels like a conversation and it's not so like
attack
and like I'm putting up the wall. It's more so like, let's put a pin in it and come back to it.
Love that.
We don't have to talk about it right now. Move on to something else.
Yeah, generally people will be okay with that.
Right.
But I have had times where they're like, nah, come on. I'm like, all right, too far. Like,
right.
We're not talking about this right now.
Let's not here.
I think those situations, it's just honesty.
Yeah. And I'm a big like on the environment side of it. If you're trying to go super deep and we're at like a bar.
Yeah.
I'll pull the like, we could talk about this later. Like, it's so loud in here. I'd rather talk about this when it's quiet.
Right. Yeah. That one, I think, just being honest, like we said.
Yeah. If you were ever on a date and it was going like so horribly wrong, would you ever pull the like, oh, my friend's calling me, she's in trouble, I gotta go?
God, this is like my biggest fear.
I've always like kind of had it in my back pocket. I always go into the date thinking like, if this is gonna be the worst date of my life, I do need an out. And I'm not one to like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and never come back.
God no. That's disrespect.
So disrespectful. They need to at least know I'm about to dip.
Yeah.
But I think I would maybe go to the bathroom and come back and be like, oh my God, my roommate is in distress right now and she really needs me to go.
Damsel in distress.
Literally. She's Rapunzel.
My roommate Rapunzel, have you heard of her?
She really needs me right now. I hate to do this, but like, can we rain check?
Yeah.
I think I would pull that
100%.
if I was super uncomfortable and wanted to go. I don't know. It's funny to think about because I've never had to, but you always like fucking see it in movies.
I
and
always
shit.
like picture. I've seen like TikToks of people being like, making my best friend answer the phone with fake tears to get me out of this date. Like, I would do that for you. And like, I do always think like I can hit Alex or Leanna or Brie with a message and be like, fake cry, calling you in 10, and they'll know what to do. Like, yes, I would do that. But I've totally thought about this. Like, I personally would go with the, I don't feel well. And I would just say like, I have stomach problems. Like, I don't care to say that. If I'm never going to see you again anyway too, like who fucking cares? I'll be like honestly, like, I'm not really like feeling that well. I'm so sorry to cut this short. And I would literally say like, I'm so embarrassed to do this, but like, I gotta go. Like, I don't feel well. Like, I would put it into my lack of ability to be like okay in the situation. I would put it on me and be like, I'm not feeling well. Like, therefore,
there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. Like, they can't piece together anything more than just like,
she has to shit her pants.
That, or like, nobody's gonna argue the same way when you call to work and you say you're not feeling well. Like, rarely people will not argue with your well-being. Like, health comes first, and like generally humans respect that. So like, I would hit it with that.
Such a good point.
I tend to bring up my stomach problems too on dates, and not in just like a, hey, want to know something about me? No. Like, they'll be like, do you want to order this? And like, this literally happened in my last date because we went to Shuka, which is Mediterranean, and there was like a hummus trio platter, and hummus hurts my stomach. And he's like, do you want to get the hummus? And I was like, I'm down, but let's get the sweet potato one. He's like, oh, you don't like chickpeas? And I was like, honestly, they wreck my stomach pretty bad. Like, usually if I'm with you, you're gonna know. You're
gonna find out quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I can say that the date with South 20 minutes from there, I could be like, they put chickpeas in this, I gotta go, like, bye. And I could just
use that as your out.
Exactly.
Ooh, I'm sorry, I was showing ankle.
Alex.
That's crazy.
Whore. Look at Link.
No, I know.
Her leg open. Like we said, I hope this episode helps you guys. I wish we had a lot of like like the Patreon episode's gonna be really good because I want like examples
I want
to like
you guys to
give advice about, but these are our perspectives. I think if you're gonna take anything away from this episode, it's exercise the muscle.
Right.
I can't stress it enough. It's
and
something we've built over time.
We're all in the conversation boat, kind of go into it knowing that there are different perspectives as far as how people navigate conversations, because that's something that I never connected in my head.
Yeah.
There's different ways that people go into conversations expecting it to flow. So don't beat yourself up with your style and don't think it's your fault that the conversation isn't flowing.
It's a two-way street.
Right.
It's a tennis game, like you said. And like,
takes two to tango.
if they're playing tennis with a cucumber, it's going to be a different game than if they're playing with a racket.
Right. You're so right.
That's what I'm saying. So get your rackets ready.
Get your rackets ready. For Patreon, send us.
Yeah. Send in.
Literally, like, we just want your thought process with all this.
Yes.
Thought process, scenarios, shit you've had to get out of, ways you make conversations flow.
Yep.
Things you've been tripped up on, how you get out of conversations. We want to hear it all.
I want to hear different styles than just the two of us. 'Cause
Yeah.
like we said, like, I think we get caught in ours a lot, and we know there's a cajillion infinite amount more of types of conversationalists, and again, all just as important in the conversation. So who do you like to talk to? Who do you dislike? Like, types of people. What types of people do you like to talk to? What types of people are hard to talk to? Criticize us if you want.
Yeah.
Literally, like, be nice, but like, criticize us if you want. Just be nice. And even if you're not on Patreon, comments below. If you're listening on YouTube, let's go in about this topic. I think it's so valuable. This is the epitome of what you're saying. Like, if we had an open conversation about how we converse, then people would be more comfortable.
Right.
So let's start it here.
We need the other side of it. We want you guys to engage just as much as we engage.
It's awareness of other perspectives. It does wonders for the human, subconsciously and consciously. So if you're listening on YouTube, comment down below. And while you're there, subscribe. I don't know. Something crazy.
Hit that like button.
Hit the like button. I don't know. Whatever. Turn on your notifications if you want. No biggie. I'm not even tripping. If you're listening on what's it called?
Apple Podcasts.
Have you ever heard of it? Or Spotify. Rate us. You can rate us
and write a review.
Please. It helps us out a lot. Seriously though, the rating, that alone, it really helps. Like, when people search, it helps push up our podcast, and that's more people in an even bigger community, and then we can take over
the world. Conversation is just going to get bigger and bigger. It's one big conversation about conversations.
The conversation is conversationing.
Conversing.
But like, you know, like, oh my God, your pants are pantsing right now.
Oh,
or like,
right.
Like that whole thing. Like, that was a bad example, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Your pants are pantsing.
Your pants
Our
are pantsing.
pants are pantsing.
We do have fun pants on right now.
Fun pants.
All right. I'm hungry. I love you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Big heads up. Super Bowl's this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun.
Football.
Be safe. It's one of those days where I do feel like I have to throw out the drunk driver thing. Uber everywhere. It's a crazy day. Have fun, though. Go safe. Raiders.
Raiders.
They will never be in the Super Bowl. Let's get real. That's what I love about Raiders fans.
No, yeah.
So diehard, but like,
you know you're not going
there. You're not going.
1 year. Maybe it might be like a flip of the switch like the Warriors.
If everybody just like, all right, just let them win.
Hey,
like,
cool, they deserve it.
Why do I feel bad? Like, next year, let's all just agree
let the Raiders
win.
They need 1 year.
They need a dub.
All right, go Raiders.
Go Raiders. Have a good week.
Love you. Bye.